Breaking news, everyone. 320 banks across the United States are slated to close. Now, this is very disturbing because this is like the first 13 weeks of 2025, and this signals a dangerous trend. Now, I myself trade out some of my US currency or dollar for silver and gold because precious and metals are actually valuable. And so I secure my savings with gold and silver. And in this video, I'm going to share with you guys how you can get your own precious metal for free. As a free gift for you guys supporting me, I'm going to share with you a secret website because it's my birthday week and I want that as my gift to you. So we're going to cover this information on these bank closures, and I'm going to share with you that secret site on where you can get your own free precious metal. Now in Newsweek, there's this article, US bank closures full list in 2025 so far. More than 320 US bank branches have been marked for closure in the first 13 weeks of 2025, with institutions like Flagstar, TD Bank, Wells Fargo, and Bank of America continuing a widespread change in their physical presence. Why it matters. The rise in closures stem from a large shift in banking behavior. According to a study cited in the Daily Mail, more than 200 million Americans still make transactions in branches, but the use of mobile apps and online banking is rapidly expanding. What to know? US Bank was among the leaders in the last wave of closures, with some 40 locations set to shut down operations, according to filings with the Office of the Controller of Currency. Other major players includes Wells Fargo with 49 and Flagstar with 52. Now, why is this concerning? Many seniors still do banking at branch locations, and this can limit them for having access to banking service, and also those in rural communities who don't have access to internet service, and lower income people in rural communities who don't have access to get to bank branches or have those technologies. If these banks are shutting down in their communities, how would they actually get banking services? So this can be a problem. Now, the reason why I invest in precious metals like silver and gold, this actually secure my savings. And if you ever have something that happens with technology shutting down and us really depending on that for banking with a natural disaster, and you don't have electricity or any other thing where you don't have internet access, where do you have actual banking services? So with small increments of silver and gold, not only does it hedge my savings from inflation as they print this money, but it also gives me an ability to barter. I make sure I use actual US currencies or other currencies like from the Perth Mint and the Canadian maple leaf. And these are real currencies, and they actually have more value than your dollar. For instance, this is American Silver Eagle, as you know, as a silver dollar, but this and the regular dollar is supposed to have the same value of exchange, but it takes 38 of these right now to buy one of these. How is that? Because this is a real precious metal that they even use for commercial use, like EV batteries and solar panels. This is real store of money, and they just print this out of the thin air. And why you're seeing record high inflation is because they're just printing this faster than you can work for it. And what you're seeing is inflation. So everything is going up because they double the money supply, making the purchasing power of your dollar going down. And everything around you is going up except for your paycheck. Now, with this, it being a precious metal, it's actually a store of value. And this is why you see this going up in price, and you need more of these paper dollars just to buy the same currency. But this takes 38 of these to buy this. And it's a mark of inflation because they print the dollar out of thin air. So this dollar is nothing but credit. They just make it up and it's backed by nothing but your good faith. So this is just like a credit card because this dollar actually has an interest rate attached to it. So if you don't know the origins of the Federal Reserve and how it operates, the Federal Reserve in 1910 became to be off of a secret meeting on Jekyll's Island. This island is off the coast of Georgia. This is where J.P. Morgan Chase and William Rockefeller, some of the biggest banking families, lived on this island. And what's interesting on where they had this first initial secret meeting to come up with the idea of the Fed, Rockefeller home is actually on an ancient Indian mound, where this mound, they had an altar where they did human sacrifices, and he built his home. And right in this living room is where they had that meeting. Now, what this was meant to do is control the whole world currency. And after they had this meeting, they called other bankers in to a secret meeting to come down on Jekyll's Island. And they made it so secretive that they changed their names and left Bayonne, New Jersey, and came on a train to hide their identities so people didn't know they were having this meeting. And what's believed that these wealthy bankers, through propaganda, actually got Woodrow Wilson elected and other elected officials who actually instated the Federal Reserve in 1913. Now, the reason why they wanted this to operate, because that was their industry, and they wanted to stop bank runs. That means you coming in, accessing the currency of the bank, because in those days, actual US currency was backed by gold. You can trade in that dollar for gold. And so they wanted to stop people for being able to go in for bank runs. And so this reminds me of the same thing here today. With these branches shutting down, you don't have access to go into the bank to pull your funds out, which is very concerning, because with our Fed, what people don't know, they print the money for our whole nation. Anytime they print this dollar, it's attached with an interest rate that need to be paid back to the central bank for just printing our money. And it keeps us in a perpetual cycle of debt. And then, in order to pay that debt back, they're printing more money that's causing more interest. And what it causes, a government doesn't have any industry or any business but taxing you. And so we get taxed, and our children got to pay for this tax. And it keeps us in a perpetual form of economic slavery. And not just the United States, this is the world currency, and other countries have to use the US dollars. So it was designed to enrich banking families. This is why when you do not leverage your credit to get assets that actually create you an income instead of working for it, you're going to get kicked out of the game. This is why in Monopoly, they give you that $200 and everybody go around the board. If you don't use that opportunity to buy land, to build real estate, to buy the electric company or the railroad company, as other people start to develop the board, if you only just operate in that cash, you will be soon out of that game. And this is why JP Morgan Chase is the monopoly man. This is why that is his image, because the banks give you this money and you get that $200 from the banker, and you better invest in these assets because it is speaking to you on how this banking system works. And the reason why you're not taught about this, because the Rockefellers, the same one that started the Fed, is the one that's actually over your education system and your school system. And this is why schools are ran like a factory with a bell to go from location to location, and even a certain time for lunch. Even your higher institution of learning, been funded by the Rockefellers, like Spelman College, is named after a Rockefeller today. So you want to leverage your credit to get business and get assets, especially cash flowing assets like Monopoly. And this is why users in my elite credit system, like Sean, was able to go from a 612 credit score all the way over to a 770 with all his credit scores. And now he's at an 803. And he was able to leverage his credit now to get business lines of credit for his business. And you can do the same thing. If you need my help, the link is in the description below. And you can go to my website and get this free heart inquiry removal package for free and download it. But you want to leverage your credit to get assets to make you money. And this is why I trade out my dollar for actual real currency, which is silver and gold. Now, with the company I use is Quicksilver, and I even can purchase silver and gold with my credit cards, and I use that to build up points also and just pay it before the due date. But they also give you a free sample, one per household limit, of a gram of silver. And all you have to do is pay for the shipping and handling, and you can get your own sample if you want to see the beauty of holding a precious metal. So I'll leave that link for you guys in the description of this video and in the pinned comment section so you can check that out. But I use their wealth building, and what I do is have the silver and gold sent to me at a set amount every month. And I do this especially now when they are shutting down branches. And many people will say, well, what can you do with this? It's actual money, it's currency. You can take it to your local coin shop. I did that many a times, and they will give you the values of dollars of the silver and gold that you have at your local shop, you guys. So, the worst thing that can happen if you pass away, your family is going to inherit tons of gold and silver. Who's against that? Like, it's have a better track record than the dollar. We have a fiat currency, and all of the world right now have a fiat currency. And if you never knew that not one fiat currency ever survived, even the United States had the continental currency and it crashed and fell. So, you guys, the US dollar at this rate is not going to last forever. So, it's something you may want to think about. So hopefully this information was helpful to you. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave it in the comment section. But if you have more detailed questions for me, you can go to my website and all your questions go directly to my cell phone. I hope to see you guys in the next video. Stay tuned.